And a good morning to you. I am First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin here on the back end of what was a very busy overnight and early morning period across North Georgia and metro Atlanta, tracking numerous severe thunderstorms and a likely and apparent tornado tracking through Rockdale County in the wee hours of this morning just after midnight, producing damage. If you're just now tuning in, maybe getting to your smart device and wondering what transpired overnight, it was very busy on the southeast side, Rockdale County into Conyers. You probably just saw this notification, this push to watch on your smart device. If you have the Atlanta News First app, Rockdale Conyers recovering after radar-confirmed tornado touches down. And again, we're kind of in the middle of this investigation process. We did see debris, so did the National Weather Service, detected on First Alert radar and their radar system as well. And that is what prompted an upgrade to the radar-confirmed tornado warning. Basically, radar could tell, it could see that there was debris being thrown up into the sky, and in last night's case, thousands of feet. And so they confirmed it, even though no one had seen it at that point, middle of the night, wrapped in rain, right? Not many people are going to see it, even those impacted. But they did go ahead and put the confirmation on that because we detected debris spinning around in the sky last night just after midnight into especially the west, the southwest, the northwest sides of Conyers. Beyond that, there have been no significant reports of damage. We did, though, have some severe weather reported, gusty winds, small hail, and some very heavy rain in the First Alert forecast earlier this morning. And now we're on the back end of this. We're starting to dry it out. So forecast-wise, improving. National Weather Service is now going to need to go investigate this damage in Rockdale County and in around Conyers to see exactly what touched down, where it lifted, how wide it was, how strong those winds were before giving it that official EF or enhanced Fujita rating. So again, tracking damage left behind by a likely tornado that moved through Rockdale County earlier this morning, just a few minutes after midnight. First Alert meteorologist Patrick Pete and Fred Campania were on air right after the 11 o'clock newscast. I know last night I was watching the 11 p.m. They were already tracking storms and talking about the risk of severe weather and possibly tornadoes. And then sure enough, we did see that. And this is the estimated track on the right-hand side of the screen. What is a most likely track, just going off of what our crews in that area have found. And again, coming up in just a minute, you're going to hear more from Atlanta News First reporter Dawn Shipman, who is still in Conyers, and will remain there through the rest of the morning. Again, a lot to show, a lot to tell in and around Conyers. In fact, some of the newer information we've gotten, maybe a touchdown a little bit closer to McDaniel Mill Road Southwest, right at Klondike Road, tracking in typical tornadic fashion, moving southwest to north and east. It's not always the case, but it certainly was this time, with kind of an east-northeast track here, putting it over I-20 near Klondike, Iris Drive Southwest as well. Not hearing of many reports of trees onto Interstate 20. It was never closed, but I'm sure there's at least some tree debris in that general area. And then crossing the interstate and moving up in the general direction of Milstead Avenue Northeast, so kind of the north side of Conyers. That has been the trend, looking at data, looking at damage pictures, damage video. We actually had First Alert Chopper up and over the scene earlier this morning, and there was a very clear-cut path between, just a few leaves down and then trees that were sheared off, pines here, only about 20 to 30 feet above the ground. So likely tornado, radar confirmed tornado, but we have yet to get the specifics, touchdown, lift point, how wide it was, how strong those winds were blowing. But the National Weather Service is heading out there. If not today, they will likely be out tomorrow getting all of these specific questions answered here across in the Atlanta News First viewing area. You may not live in Rockdale County, but you may have family that lives there. Maybe you work there and you live in the city. A lot to discuss and a lot to get specification on here after those storms moved through Rockdale County and the city of Conyers earlier this morning. So we're going to go back to what's happening outside right now. Again, much nicer, much calmer, though it is still windy. Let's take a look at current temperatures across North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Notice how it's cooler in Rome than it is in Atlanta, and in Atlanta, it's cooler than it is in Athens. We're slowly seeing some chillier air filter back into North Georgia and metro Atlanta. Keep in mind the storm system responsible for that line of storms, a Cold front is still draped across North Georgia. No storms with this front. They have already moved through kind of the cool air, the actual front lagging just a little bit behind showers and thunderstorms that, of course, woke you up probably late last night, early this morning. And now behind that, we're seeing some much cooler air filter into North Georgia and Metro Atlanta, more of a north wind and northwest wind behind the front, and then ahead of it, more of a southerly, a southwesterly wind pumping in that warm air to middle Georgia, coastal Georgia, much of South Carolina. But everyone, by the time all is said and done, will be feeling the wind, feeling the chill, much cooler air moving into North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Case in point, our mountain temperatures continue to drop. Cohutta is actually already back in the upper 40s. Highlands, North Carolina, 49. Meanwhile, US 411 on the road there in Chattooga, well north and east of the city of Atlanta. That's the Chattooga community, not Chattooga County. We're talking the other end of the state here. It's 60, but 51 Dalton on the 75 corridor. That's because much cooler air is starting to filter into North Georgia and in Metro Atlanta. Temperature change now fairly drastic across North Georgia. In fact, even beyond North Georgia, look at this wedge of cooler air, real, kind of dumping of cold air into the mid-south, the southeast. And now we're just starting to get a taste of that behind our early morning thunderstorms here in North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Again, now that we're a couple minutes into the stream, I want to remind you that we are streaming on many platforms this morning. AtlantaNewsFirst.com and the Atlanta News First app, First Alert Weather app, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, YouTube TV. Again, if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out on YouTube. That's the place where we can really converse. Again, I'm monitoring your feed. We're streaming on many platforms, but if you have any weather questions that you need answered, if you need any clarification on the First Alert forecast, again, just give me a holler here on the stream. And even after the stream ends, that video will be recorded and it will live on our Atlanta News First YouTube page forever. And we occasionally go back and look at comments as well, and we can reach back out even if I did miss your comment during the course of the stream. Hour-by-hour forecast. Big temperature change on the way. Today, a first alert weather day. Not because we're expecting more storms, but as you've probably noticed if you've been outside over the past 30, maybe 45 minutes an hour, temperature is really plummeting and winds are getting gusty out there. So a big change in our temperature across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. 81 yesterday. Today, 50s to near 60. 60 at 3 p.m., warmest point of the afternoon, but it's not going to be all that warm. Again, yesterday we were in the lower 80s. Today, struggling to get back into the lower 60s. And it will be breezy to windy all afternoon long. In fact, look at what winds do. 1, 2, 3 p.m., sustained, 10, 15, up to 20, and then sustained winds, that constant wind, sustained 20 to 25 as we get into that 3, 4, and 5 o'clock time frame in the late afternoon, the early evening. So it will be very windy. These are sustained winds, but winds will be gusting perhaps 35 to 45 miles an hour across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. And keep in mind, some are still dealing with power outages after severe weather early this morning. Specifically, I should say, Rockdale County. Nearly 10,000 people in Conyers were without power earlier this morning. Also, Coweta County and then around Noonan was another kind of a spike or area that had more outages. Fayette County on the south side. You get the idea. That south west to kind of northeast corridor south of the city of Atlanta. That is where the outages have been most prevalent across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta so far. And while we have been seeing Georgia Power and other crews out working to restore power, wind is not going to make that job any easier. We're tracking sustained winds, 15 to 25, gusts 35, possibly up to 40 miles an hour as some of this much cooler air starts to work its way back into North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Now, we're breaking back out into sunshine now. However, we're still going to be battling some clouds and maybe a sprinkle or two. Again, this is your hour-by-hour forecast. Some of that data just starting to load in. And there we have it. Notice how, yes, we're breaking out into a clearer sky. Watch what happens as we get into mid and late afternoon. Temperatures, again, struggling to get back to 60 in Atlanta. We're staying in the upper 40s and 50s up in our mountain communities. Clouds actually move back in, and there could be a spotty rain shower or two far north metro on into the mountains. That's this evening to drive home. In the metro, I'm thinking maybe just a couple sprinkles, a little bit of drizzle. What you'll really notice, in addition to the gusty wind, is the fact that clouds will increase once again. So we're heading into a bit more sunshine right now, but we're going to be dealing with more clouds and spotty rain in the forecast this evening. Again, not amounting to much, a spritz here, spritz there, not a huge hindrance to any of your evening plans. And then Thursday, we're back into the clouds as well. In fact, some of our highest of elevation communities up in Clay County, North Carolina, the Smokies, for example, above, a couple thousand feet, could have some snow flurries along with the sprinkles. So certainly, yes, it may say spring, meteorological spring, and now astronomical spring. We are well into it, but it will feel a little bit more like late winter here over the next few days. But regardless of the chill and the wind, the good news is that we have already passed the severe weather threat. It caused big issues this morning, but now on the up and up, we're seeing some subtle improvement, but not before we had some more significant damage across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. So we're watching that pretty closely. And on that note, I'm going to be joined here in just a moment with much more in the way of damage. Again, we actually have several people out and about in Conyers, in Rockdale County, highlighting the damage that has already been done. Again, we're still dealing with some wind. We're going to be dealing with the wind through the day. Again, being joined by Joylyn Nacker. And Joy, you've kind of just gotten your first taste of some of the damage coming in this morning. I came in at 3 and the damage had already been done. Some pretty crazy images, and really scary to think that this hit Rockdale County in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and I want to show the viewers some of the video actually that we have gathered, and it really is scary. We actually have some video that was captured from a traffic camera of what the storm looked like in the overnight hours, and obviously being dark, you can't really see. What you can see is just the strong wind, and you can kind of see trees moving back and forth. Cutter, I'm gonna
car's shaking.
There we go.
No, thank you so much, Cutter, for helping get everybody ready for what's ahead. Let me actually pop up some of this other video.
I got my
Obviously,
brake pedal to the floor. I am okay so far.
At really the strength of this storm. But look at this. This is from GDOT, and really just gives you a look at, even though it's pitch black, obviously in the middle of the night when this video is captured. You can see, sorry, I'm just managing the graphics over here, but you can see the way that everything is just shaking around, the strength of the wind, the power of this storm. And you can see here on the GDOT camera, that's at Old Covington Road in Rockdale, or McDonough Road at Old Covington Road in Rockdale. And then I want to show you this other footage. Look at this. I mean, this is pretty incredible. So this is obviously the aftermath of a tornado touchdown, and Atlanta News First, our helicopter was flying over some of the damage, surveying it for you. Look at that home. The roof is completely gone. You see just debris littered all across the ground there. It looks like the tree has been stripped. Really quite an incredible scene. You see multiple crews there on the road standing by to do some repairs, and you see other trees down in kind of the wooded area behind the home. And this is what people are waking up to in Conyers, in Rockdale County, in general. So I want to get over now to my colleague, Don Shipman, because Don Shipman has been on the ground there in Rockdale County, giving us a look at the damage, Don. And I can see in your shot behind you that the area where you are is also recovering from damage.
This is probably one of the hardest hit areas here in Rockdale County. We're in Conyers right now. And yeah, you can see there's a street that we're on, West Adrian Circle. And I want you to take a walk with me here because they just opened this up. This was covered with trees. A massive tree was across here. You can hear chainsaws in the background. And they just cleared this within the last 10 minutes so we can make our way into this neighborhood. So not only can we get into the neighborhood, but more importantly, these rescue crews can get in here. The power company can get in here as we walk over power lines here. It's pretty wild. The power is cut, but you can see the damage. And I want you to look over here. See that truck right there? This massive tree right here, literally over the back of that truck. You're using a bucket loader down there to move some of this debris out of the way. At one point, there was water shooting out of the ground. From what I understand, from what one of the guys told me here that's helping to clear all this, he said that one of those big trees there, it literally uprooted. And when it uprooted, it pulled some of the infrastructure up, meaning some of the pipes that are under the ground. So for a number of hours during the overnight and early morning hours, water was shooting into the air right there from all of the damage. I mean, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses just in this area, and there are a number of these houses that actually have trees on top. Look over here. You can see the damage to this building right here. I can't even tell if it's a house or if it was a shed or garage because there's so much damage right there. And if you look at the skyline in this area too, this is, I think, really important to kind of look at. Normally there'd be trees. You would notice a tree canopy here, but that's not the case because this is where most likely that tornado made its way through, and it just, if it didn't uproot trees, it just sheared them off at the top or snapped them off at the top. Here's the thing. The good news is that no one was badly injured here. I was talking with one man who told me that he has rental property here. He was using 2 canes to walk into this neighborhood because he couldn't drive in, and he was trying to find out if his tenant was okay and if his property was okay. Turns out the tenant's okay, the property is okay, not badly damaged, not like some of these right here. His place is up in that area over there, and the home is not badly damaged. Anything that is broken can be easily fixed. But this is just one neighborhood, and I would suspect that this area right here is probably one of the hardest hit areas. Joy?
Yeah, Don, really, really incredible to see that damage, and heartbreaking, I'm sure, for the people who live there. Thank you so much, John Shipman, giving us that live look from the ground in Rockdale County. I want to show our viewers some of the other video that we have captured from that area. So, you know, here, just kind of showing you, I mean, obviously what Don has showed you kind of, it says it all. But and here is another area where, you know, this power pole was just snapped in half, and you can see the part of it that's been broken off just kind of suspended in the air, held up by the wires. Obviously a very dangerous situation, something that crews are working to fix right now as we speak. And then you look at this damage to a church, and, you know, I mean, look at this tree down, and it looks like the structure itself, thankfully, is in fairly good shape. But even just, you know, the tree damage, and then you think about the cost of that. I'm not sure if you've ever had a tree down at your house or your property, but that's expensive to have it chopped up and removed. It's a lot of work to have it done. So when we're talking about the cost of repairs here, you know, that's a real hardship for the property owners, of course, and. I want to continue now our team coverage in Rockdale County from Conyers at Briarwood Drive, because that's where crews and residents are right now assessing the damage, working to make repairs. Atlanta News First, Rebecca Schramm has more.
I am in a residential neighborhood on a street called Briarwood Circle, and take a look at what neighbors are waking up to this morning. Trees down everywhere. You can see the root ball of one tree that fell across the yard, and another tree uprooted and fell directly onto this house. And this is a scene that's repeating itself on street after street just west of Conyers here in Rockdale County after that midnight tornado touchdown. Just getting to this scene this morning was treacherous. Trees are down on McDaniel Mill Road and several other nearby streets. When those trees fell, they took down power lines with them, so a lot of people are in the dark right now. We'll keep checking on some of the areas where we're getting reports of extensive damage, and as we find more, we will let you know. In Conyers, in Rockdale County, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
And thank you so much to Rebecca for putting together that report. I also want to thank our viewers for
Cars
sending in.
shaking.
Look at this. This is from a viewer. Thank you for sending this in. This is showing the storm from a McDonald's parking lot. And
I got my brake pedal to the
this
floor.
is in Conyers.
I am okay so far. Got more strong winds. Car is rocking. I'm sitting at McDonald's on the West Ave Conyers exit. Tornado on the ground. It is crossing the interstate probably about half a mile to the west of me, and power is out. Power is out. Lovely.
Yeah,
Power
really,
flashes.
really incredible video from that viewer there, and you know
Cars shaking.
we do appreciate viewers sending in videos like this. This gentleman was saying that he was in the McDonald's parking lot in Conyers, and he told you where he was, and he said that there was a tornado. The tornado was about a half a mile away at that point. And then here, as I'm letting it replay, you know, we see the moments that the power goes out. I do want to emphasize, as much as we appreciate you sending in this video, and we do, it really helps us tell the story. We certainly don't want anyone to put themselves in harm's way just to get some video, you know. So this gentleman said on his video that he was about half a mile from where the tornado touched down, and it was crossing an interstate at the time that he took this video. Please, please do not put yourself in anywhere near the path of a storm for some video or any other reason. But if you do happen to capture video, of course, we appreciate you sharing it, and we will share it with all of our viewers as well. Look at some of this damage. Hill Street wires down. This is just some of the other images from our viewers as well. Conyers, you know, damaged photos that we have gathered. And I want to also point you to our website, atlantanewsfirst.com, where we continue to update the reporting as we learn more, as crews learn more, they are out assessing the damage. And you see that tweet or X notification, I should say, from the National Weather Service last night, shortly before midnight, telling people in Conyers to take shelter now. A confirmed tornado is in progress from the National Weather Service in Atlanta. And so, you know, and then you look at some of the images from our Rebecca Schramm. So I encourage you, go to atlantanewsfirst.com, where you can download our free app if you want to look at this a little more extensively. And of course, if you want to get updates sent to your phone, you know, in situations like this, as you saw, the power went out, it happens. But if your phone is fully charged, I was just showing you that video again from that McDonald's parking lot.
Cars shaking.
Dramatic. But if your power's out, you can get updates sent to your phone by downloading our free Atlanta News First mobile news app, and it's so critical in times like this. It hopefully can help keep you safe. All right, thanks so much for being with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. Like I said, our coverage continues on our website and our free mobile news app. And again, if you haven't done so yet, really encourage you to download that app, and you can get updates sent right to your phone. You know, and potentially, I mean, maybe we can even help keep someone safe, maybe even save a life. Who knows? But information is so critical in times like this. We really appreciate you being with us. Have a great day.